What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another motherfucker video here on my motherfucker channel. Y'all already know who this is. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Jordana. I'm a Latina trans woman here to share my journey on self-growth, on self-love, on self-worth, and really like just growth as a person, pretty much. And if you are just like coming in and like watching the channel for the first time, and this is the first video that you're watching, I definitely recommend going to previous videos and checking those out, because they more or less give you like a background on where I'm coming from and like my story, pretty much. So yeah, check those out, and you'll more or less kind of like be caught up on like what's going on and like a little bit of my story and why I'm here. Not gonna lie, I'm thinking about making the mask thing like a thing for me. I don't know, like it was pretty cool. I'm kind of living and loving the whole like ninja fantasy thing that you get to live on the daily here in California. You know what I'm saying? But without further ado, so in previous videos, like I said, I've mentioned a little bit on, I mentioned my last relationship and how that went, and how it was just toxic, and it was just not, it wasn't a very good one. And by the time that relationship started, I was more or less already on kind of like a, I guess, like self-destructive path, because I allowed things to kind of like take over for a minute that I knew better, but you know, sometimes we make exceptions and do shit for the sake of keeping the peace within a relationship where, you know, love is there, but there are lots of other things that are unhealthy that you kind of like overlap, and yeah, kind of like outdo like the good. Anyway, I've touched a little on that, but anyway, so I haven't, for you guys to understand my present, you guys need to understand my past. And this has been a long time coming. I mean, not this necessarily, but everything that I've gone through, and that has led me up to this point. So to start off, I come from a Latino household, mom and dad, and their story is kind of like one of those. I know it's cute, but at the same time, like, oh god. Anyway, so you know, my parents are both Latino. They're both Guatemalan, and sorry about that, you guys. And yeah, like I come from a loving household where, you know, my mom, from like what I could see, always did her very best to try to keep the household like clean, food on the table, you know, everything to keep my dad happy and pleased. But unfortunately, my dad decided to use the head between his legs instead of the one on his shoulders, and that kind of and I mean, he officially like left home. My like parents have been separated, even though like they didn't officially get divorced till I was 18. um my parents were separated since I was like 7 or 8. By 6, it was already like pretty rocky. My dad really wasn't spending any time at home because he was too busy fucking womanizing and, doing stupid shit that he knew he shouldn't have been doing, but, try to fucking like justify it with being macho and all that bullshit. And anyway, that's complete shit. But so yeah, um, my mom has been the one that's kind of like taught me that you're the one that makes a house a home. That's why you spend your time there, which is exactly why I love being home. There may be some times when I get bored and I get tired of being here, but at the end of the day, I mean, truth be told, I would rather be here than anywhere else, because even when I'm like out running errands, I'll be running errands, and like as soon as I'm done, like it's almost like I start getting anxiety, like I need to go home. Like I don't like being out and about like too long. I don't know, like I don't know what it is, but it could be because like when it comes to like work and like doing things like that, I'm totally an extrovert, but like on the daily life, I mean, like honestly, like mostly like an introvert. But uh I don't know where the fuck I was going with that. But anyway, y'all. So my dad being a womanizer and, leaving my mom and myself kind of like to kick rocks while he went off to like have his fun and, like do stupid shit that he knew he shouldn't have been doing, but, being the fucktard that he was, um, he made the stupid fucking choice. And that kind of set the tone for me for the rest of my life, because since I didn't have my dad there um, for the longest time, I I even this is some crazy shit, because like let me tell you guys, when I say that I'm like I keep it real with y'all, and like I keep it just as real with myself, I I mean that shit like 100%. Um, I I'm not some fucking psychologist, psychiatrist, or whatever the fuck. That's not me, but I know myself well enough to be able to give myself an honest evaluation, and I came to the conclusion that was for the longest time, I was in all these toxic ass relationships, these bad, just fucking terrible relationships that were just so bad, and I know I shouldn't be in them, but like I was in them because I thought it was love and all that bullshit. But anyway, there's a difference between love and lust, and yeah, it's a very fucking thin line, which is sometimes why it's so hard to see the difference. But if you're fucking like, if you're someone with a brain and you actually fucking use your head on your shoulders, then it's not that fucking difficult to see or distinguish either. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. I was fucking thirsty. I was thirsty, so I had to get something to fucking drink. Anyway, so I came to the eventual like, conclusion that I stayed in a lot of these relationships because I was seeking the approval of a man, which at the end of the day was my dad, because like because he wasn't there. I was always trying to like please him and like try to make him proud and like do my very best, and even though I would, it was never enough. And that's another thing that I eventually had to come to terms with. Anyway, y'all, so this fucked up like macho image that my dad projected was forever ingrained in my head. And I I don't know why. Like, even though I saw a lot of the shit that was going on in my parents' relationship, I don't know why the fuck like I allowed a lot of the things that I dealt with to get as out of hand as they did, because I witnessed a lot of the shit that I experienced as a kid, and even though like I knew it wasn't right as I was experiencing it, for whatever the fuck reason, like it was just I don't know, it was just not something that like I even got out of eventually got out of, but like it wasn't something that I would come easily. But so I have this, I like grew up witnessing this pretty fucked up dynamic between my parents, because my dad being a fucking piece of shit, pretty much. I mean, I ain't gonna like fucking sugarcoat that bullshit. He was being a piece of shit. And anyway, so I was and another thing, on top of that, I also had my dad to deal with because the time that I would spend with him, it was nothing but criticism. It was nothing about like talking mad shit about my weight, about how I looked, about whatever the fuck. It was always something wrong. It was never like I was never good enough, like pretty much. And I eventually like pretty much told him to like fuck off about that one. But anyway, so because of him, I grew up with a fucking low self esteem and under the impression that for some whatever fucking twisted reason, I thought like love was like the type of thing relationship that I witnessed my parents have, and so like that I didn't at the time I didn't know that that would eventually become a cycle that I would keep on repeating with partners, which would eventually like kind of like lead down that like destructive path that I went on for a very short time, and eventually led to the healing that I eventually came to. Um, so my very first, and oh my gosh, y'all, like, so this has been a long time coming, y'all, and like, I haven't posted, honestly, you guys, because I don't know if I've been afraid to share this part of my life, or like these individual parts of my life, because each one of them played a very big role, and some of them, like, to even now, even like years later, you guys, like even now, some of these like it still hurts, and like I've said before in other videos, like healing's an ongoing process. You're never done healing, and I believe it because like it's crazy to think about like some of these one relationship in particular. Really hurts to think about, but I'll eventually get into that one, and you guys will see why like my heart is completely shattered for that one. Well, to begin with, you guys, it goes without saying that I'm obviously not gonna use the real names of these guys that I dated, because we all know that once like all this shit like gets put out into YouTube, we all know some motherfucking nosy ass people that try to like look up in your shit and like try to like dig up and like eventually like try to like be all up in your business. So obviously like I will have had changed the names on a lot of these, on a lot of these, on all of them actually, on all these motherfuckers that like I've been in relationship with, and I'm gonna give you guys background on like each one of them, and like how each one of them I at the time myself, like I didn't realize that like each one like fucked me up in like a different way that kind of like set me up for failure for like everything else, because like I was shit and behavior that I eventually like allowed out of thinking I was doing it like out of love and like it would benefit me in some way, which it wouldn't, because like at the end of the day I eventually got like screwed over and like done it all dirty and all that shit. But anyway, you guys, I'm trying to not keep each video too long, so you guys, this has been a little intro to my life. In the next video, which I'm gonna be like I'm recording this shit at like 2 something a.m. and I'm gonna be posting up all these. I'm gonna be like burning through the night, just like recording back to back, and giving you guys pretty much like the 411 on everything that's been going on and what's led me up to here. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one, you guys. Bye.